Ready for the mosh pit, Shaka Bra.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to StrangeCast, Player One vs. World's Life is Strange podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Adnan. My other co-host, Adam, is here. Adam, you here?
Pop cheerio, good bloody hell. I'm across the pond.
Oh, is this because I said Nike wrong that you're doing this?
How did you say Nike?
Nike.
Yeah.
That's just a pronunciation thing for Nike. Like, come on, like they haven't even like doing like a little flick on the E or anything, or like anything to suggest it. Otherwise, you are Nike. That's it.
Just that. Just like when I pronounced Michel Koch Co. Yeah,
So actually,
Michel
the
Koch.
origins of that name as well are German and Jewish. When I was looking it up last time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the origins of it. Like I know it definitely has German origins to it when I was looking it on Google, but it also has apparently Jewish origins as well. So I was like, that's quite interesting. But yeah. But he is Michel Koch.
Are you Jewish? Are you excited that Hanukkah this year starts on Christmas Day? Isn't that weird? Like Hanukkah starts on Christmas Day this year, so it's just it's gonna be weird for a lot of Jewish Christian households.
I was gonna say yourself as well. You do Hanukkah last year as well.
I do Hanukkah every year, not just last year.
Oh, well, there you go. That was my favorite part when you turned up when you were like you did Hanukkah. I was like, you're like, yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
I completely
I'm like, I'm Jewish.
But anyway, welcome to the podcast. As always, if you are new here, as always, do please drop a subscribe on the channel, turn on notifications, like the video, and share with your friends. Helps support the channel, helps keep up to date with the content on the channel. Almost at 1,100 subscribers on YouTube, so please do subscribe if you are new here. And also, StrangeCast is available on all your podcast services, so it's available on Spotify with the video version, it's available on Apple Podcasts, it's available on everything, so do check us out. And also, we just crossed 170 Spotify followers, Adam, which is crazy.
Oh.
So we now have 170 and we currently have 14 ratings at 4.9. So if you haven't rated us, please do, because our ratings went up recently. We're making up for Adam's terrible takes. That's what's like making us go down in ratings.
Which takes this time? I can't keep track of them.
I think it's the Michel Koch one. I think that was probably lost us a couple of like ratings down. I think Michel probably goes for 1 star for that as well.
Yeah. How dare you pronounce my name wrong?
I like Michel Koch. I don't know. It just like flows like nice little bring down the name. As I said, like it works with Michel. You can't call Luke Bag. It doesn't work. He has to be Luke Bagados, but like Michel Koch can work as Michel Koch.
I like Luke Bag.
It just doesn't have the same ring to it, does it? It's just a little bit
Lucky Bag. If you add a CK, Lucky Bag.
Oh, that could be a good nickname, Lucky Bag.
I'm sure he won't be offended by us making new names for him as he watches.
But we mentioned them anyway because the first part is going to be on Michel. That'll be our first news segment. So, Adam, you ready?
Yes, I am. I'm so ready.
Okay, so the first piece of news is all about Michel. So Michel was on the media round still as part of all the other topics that we've covered on StrangeCast, and it was just Michel this time. No Luke Bagados either. No Frederica Jennings. Just Michel on his own. Quite interesting. This is from Games Radar, if anything, and also again, like Michel wasn't here on the media rounds. Adam, like, interesting. Still, we can be facilitating the media rounds, but anyway. This first piece of news, I think they broke them in separate interviews on Games Radar. So this was Life is Strange's director always wanted to take the universe further, but say Square Enix was in charge of that. Dun dun dun.
Shocker.
Right. So Life is Strange's director says he would love to have developed the universe further, but that Square Enix decides where the series goes from here. In Games Radar's own Lost Records interview, Michel Koch talked about Don't Nod's latest game, Lost Records Bloom Rage, and how its development compared to the studio's most beloved series. He said, and I quote, "For Life is Strange 1, we were working with Square Enix, and at first there was no plans at all to have more than one game. It means that we never wrote the story and the characters while having in mind anything that could happen to them after the end of the game. Let's move that past. We all know the story of Life is Strange 1. I'm not going to explain that to you. So Michel said, and I continue, when the game was a success, Square Enix asked us for a second game. We managed to fit Life is Strange 2 within the same universe and even to create interesting links, end quote. He then says, due to the first game being written as a complete story, quote unquote, the developer felt like, quote unquote, we were never able to fully create intricate and complex connections and follow-ups between games, end quote. Although extremely grateful to Square Enix for, quote unquote, believing in the project in the first place, end quote, Koch says he, quote unquote, would love to have more free reins to draft where all the characters and various plots would go, end quote, beyond the 2 games in the series. However, as Square Enix owns the rights and the IP, it's up to them what gets made. He said, and I quote Michel, Square Enix planned and supervised the expansion. They hired Deck Nine to make other games within the franchise alongside ours. They found authors to write comics and crafted their own plans for this universe, end quote. In terms of how Lost Records, in terms of how this compares to Lost Records, Koch reveals, and I quote, we are working on the first game as the foundation for a possibly larger universe. We are creating our characters and their stories for this game, but also thinking of the possibilities to tell stories with them, or other stories with the locations and the same game world, end quote. Obviously, we'll be going to the other part of this interview because Lost Records will be part of the conversation that we have, but we'll stick on this piece of news. Adam, we'll go to you first, but I will say something funny, which was when this news appeared on the Life is Strange subreddit, and that's another topic in itself that we'll be talking about, the Life is Strange subreddit. I think most of the responses were, well, this doesn't look as much of a surprise or revelation to a lot of people as you think, but what did you think seeing this?
First and foremost, shocker. Big corporation wants to take control. No shock here. What is funny to think about as a creator myself, I've created characters. I want to be a writer as well. It's just like, it is weird to me that weird as in like not a shocking weird, but just like it is a weird feeling knowing that like someday if I were to write a character, like my character from my little messed up noggin up here, that a major corporation says like, yeah, well, we're gonna take control from here on out, bye-bye, and just like, what? You know what I mean? It's just like, this is a world, this is a whole universe that like was like crafted by Michel. It was crafted by this person, and yet he had no control, no say into where that universe goes, even though it was from his own intellectual mindset. And yet Square Enix comes down and says like, oh no, we're gonna make the comics. And it's like, it's weird to think about it like that. It's something that happens. Like, this isn't the first time this has happened, not by a long shot, but it's just weird that it does happen.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree with you. It doesn't surprise me. As I said, it's not the mind-blowing revelation of the fact that we know this, but it's more about actually, more in the sense that we got Michel Koch talking about it now many years after Life is Strange 2 and 1 have come out. The first game very much sets itself off to be like, we're done here, essentially. Rather than you can have opportunities to make more games from it, or feel like you can make more games from it. It does set itself up being like, this is the end of like the game. And I'm not surprised that like it was kind of like they wanted to move away from it as well. Hence why we had Life is Strange 2, which was very, very different. It felt like that's why they kind of moved that way. But it comes with the territory because, like, as Don't Nod has now become known as well quite differently. Don't Nod was not in this position 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 9 years ago when Life is Strange came out. Like, whichever entry you're talking about, it was in a very different place as a studio. It had like literally escaped a financial like crisis with Remember Me, because that was, whatever you think about the game, it was just a financial flop in its relationship with Capcom. And Life is Strange literally, like, pretty much saved the studio in a sense of like giving it a second chance. It's probably the game that the studio is known for the most now in recent memory. But yeah, it happens though. Once you give your rights over to the publisher, you're at the mercy of what the publisher wants. So that's why they can license off other games. You can license off other stories. That's why obviously Lost Records, Bloom and Rage is a Don't Nod self-published game, because I imagine that their hope is that it comes like a Life is Strange spiritual successor, and then from there you can make your own games, you can make your own whatever else you want from it. So it would make sense from that. But yeah, it was quite an interesting observation that he did, and I like the fact that he said, like, we tried to, we managed to create Life is Strange 2, and we created links within the universe. So obviously, we had Dave Madsen appear, we had like the Arcadia Bay kind of like,
Yeah, I'm not sure how Nintendo would feel about that.
well, well, yeah, we don't know how much Nintendo feels about a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly. Creating links, like multiple links. Like what?
They have
Yeah.
they like Nintendo is like both the greatest and then also the worst as well, because like they have the greatest catalog of IPs and then the most furious to work with as well. It's like when
Yeah.
people just want what they want, they just never make it, and it's like you make so much money.
Although Nintendo, if you're looking for composers for your sound team, I love Nintendo. Nintendo, cool and great. Please, if you want somebody to help out with the music, I'm here.
Maybe you could work on Power Worlds.
I could. I mean, no, because I love Nintendo. I don't know what I love anymore. Whoever gives me money.
Yeah, but in itself, I thought it was an interesting interview. I'm surprised that they I think this is the first one which was really talking about Life is Strange. Like we had the first one from, I think it was Digital Trends, which mentioned Life is Strange in parts, but this was like a heavy news piece that came from that interview just about Life is Strange.
Yes.
And obviously, I think we got this feeling anyway, having done StrangeCast for like years now, and more so when Oscar Gilbert did that interview, and they were talking about the contracts that they had with like Square Enix, and they were like, yeah, we're kind of going our separate ways because we didn't necessarily agree with everything in the contents of the contracts that we had with Square Enix. But yeah, I think this is pretty much, I would say this is your nail in the coffin. For me personally, just my take, I think this is the nail in the coffin for Don't Nod to ever be affiliated with Life is Strange. I don't think they're going to get involved with it anymore unless they buy the IP at some point.
Yeah. I don't think they will.
No.
I don't think they will. I don't think they have enough money. Like, well, like they do, but they don't. Like to buy it off from. Well, at the same time, Square Enix has had history of selling off their IPs.
Oh yes,
so
it's the Embracer Group.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
How's that work out?
Yeah, the Embracer Group is like the Cleveland Browns of the video game world. They just like they get such big talent, just destroy it. Like it's awful. Or the Detroit Pistons at this point, but here we are. Except there's no talent on the Detroit Pistons, so I'm just
big shades there. Big shades there.
Except for Kate Cunningham, who's injured. Anyways, no, this is not an NBA podcast. This is not.
No, we're not an NBA podcast yet. We'll be an NBA podcast when Taylor Swift gets involved. When she starts visiting NBA games,
she starts dating an NBA player like Travis Kelce, and then she can date
Travis Kelce. Put her on the map. Let's just put that straight, right? No one knew who she was until Travis Kelce started dating her.
I know you're being sarcastic, but I'm being offended at this point.
I just love how that triggers people like so easy. It's like every person's like
anything. Like she put Travis Kelce on the map.
No,
so let's put it that
she
way.
didn't. Everyone knew who Travis Kelce was before this. That's why the hype of the Super Bowl is happening, and she's getting more fame from the Super Bowl appearance now. He has literally put her on the world stage. But anyway,
I will slap fight you across the pond. Anyways, any hoozles.
I think this does like make sense, and I don't think I agree with what you said that they don't have the money to buy it. Like Don't Nod is not as profitable as people think it is. It's just not as profitable, and their money's going into investment as well.
It is interesting because like you can say they can just buy it, but just like it takes a whole mess of lawyers, and it takes a whole mess of time and resources and convincing Square Enix that it's not worth the money, even though Square Enix is making comics at this point. So like it's not just the game, it is the entire IP. So and Square Enix is still profiting off of Life is Strange as almost like a side hustle. So it is
side hustle.
Honestly, that's where Square Enix thinks of it. But yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting to see like
it's part of their Western catalog of games as well. Like out of the other ones, it's the most like one of the more successful ones, if anything, which has like just a more of a Western appeal, if anything. So like they're never going to sell it at this point until like it gets to the point where they've milked the hell out of it. It's going to be then it'll be sold, but otherwise they're not going to do anything with it. And I think like it would cost them a lot of money to whichever studio buys this or whichever company buys Life is Strange eventually, because then Square Enix will want the nice little bit of caveat from money from it. And Don't Nod's not as profitable. It's still like in a very early stage of like developing, investing, building for future. So long way out. But you never know. So I think like for me personally, that interview kind of just that segment from the interview just kind of screams like, Don't Nod is pretty much done, if anything, just my own personal opinion. But anyway, Adam, should we continue on?
Yes, definitely.
So we're sticking now with Michel. So we're going to the bigger piece, which is the big interview that he did with Games Radar. So it's the same place that was just a news segment that broke off into it. Michel had spoken about Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, Don't Nod Montreal's first game. So I'll just read extracts from here and then we'll go from there. So starting here, we go from whatever happens. So it explains the entire story of Lost Records. And then Michel says, and I quote, "We're working on this first game as a foundation for a possibly larger universe. We are creating our characters and their stories for this game, but also while thinking of the possibilities to tell future stories with them, or other stories with the locations and the same game world. Bloom and Rage will be a full game with a story, with full story beats and a complete story, but with Jean-Luc Cano, the writer, we're laying the seeds of what could come after. We have a lot of ideas and possible leads to where we want to go, and this is extremely liberating and creatively exciting." So again, we've kind of known this for a while anyway, that this is not just like one game off in the universe. Luke has spoken about this in one of his pieces. So we'll continue on. So we're going down to magical realism. So we have the new Lost Records universe is quote unquote brimming with magical realism, end quote, which Don't Nod is no stranger to. Both Life is Strange 1 and 2 explored different real world issues, but did so with an undercurrent of the supernatural. We don't know yet how this magical side will play out in Bloom and Rage, but Koch points to the term quote unquote liminal fantasy to describe the kind of fantasy they are infusing into Lost Records, end quote. Michel said, and I quote, "It involves blending reality, dreams, and the weirdness of the unknown. There is a peculiar, dreamy, and atmospheric experience we're trying to reach, and we hope we'll keep the players lured in the Lost Records world, like in a liminal space, both fascinated and unsettled," end quote. So with both Kano and Koch growing up in the 90s, their imaginary worlds have drawn inspiration from various sources. The time part being 27 years in Bloom and Rage is a nod to Stephen King's It, for example. So we've got that. With Koch listing other influences such as The Twilight Zone, X-Files, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Twin Peaks. Michel said, and I quote, "I think that's why, like when we crafted Life is Strange 1 for the first time, Jean-Luc and I strongly believe that adding a layer of magical realism, supernatural, or fantasy to a story is the best way to enhance emotions, human reactions, and create a twist that increases the stakes. And it allows us as creators to delve deeper into our characters and immerse the audience in a world where anything is possible," end quote. So quite interesting. Should we stop there for the moment and talk about this? Because obviously it's quite a lot here. And I feel like I'm just going to leave you. So obviously, do you want to go first?
Well, I was just gonna like point out here the whole side tangent, very side tangent. The
You like
whole
a side
Power
tangent,
World,
don't you?
yeah, Power World and Pokemon thing. Where they said 27 years in the Bloom and Rage is a nod to Stephen King's It, and I feel like when people are talking about Power World and Pokemon, it's just like I don't think it's a nod. It is kind of like they're just like, oh, well, let's make Pokemon, but better. It's not a nod. Whereas like the 27 years is a nod. Can you then say that like, oh, they're just copying a Stephen King novel with this whole game? Are they copying Stranger Things? Are they copying? It's like there's a fine line between having a nod and being like, yeah, let's just make that, but instead with guns.
Well,
I don't know.
let me just preface this because I don't want to be held on the end of point of a lawsuit. The founder of the studio who made Power Worlds is a fan of AI. There is no link of actual AI being used to create those character models, etc. I'm doing this to protect myself more so than anything else, and also protect Adam. We're not suggesting that Power Worlds has directly copied Pokemon. It has obviously been heavily inspired, as they've said. So I'm going to leave it at that at this point.
I think that's cool, but
Well, yeah, but I don't want to get sued, Adam. Like,
they
and
won't sue us.
and
Like,
you're more likely to get sued because you're in America as well. I can escape here in the UK. Like,
I can escape.
I'm not.
They won't
getting
find me.
extradited
I'm in the tundra. They won't dare to come in the tundra. Like, it's too cold to sue that guy.
But it's not as cold as it has been. They might even consider it now because it's not as cold.
I'm also very much closer to Canada now, so I can just go scoopy scop and get to Winnipeg. So,
okay, so like, let me just say, like, obviously the beginning part. I'm still obviously not like blown away like from the information we're getting because it makes sense. We know Jean-Luc's working on the game with Michelle in the writing department. Obviously, we've already spoken about the fact that they have such a massive 90s influence from things, and also including, if you played Life is Strange 1 or if you haven't played it, I don't know why you wouldn't understand all the different references that come from it. They're very much inspired by X-Files and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Twin Peaks, and like, Stephen King stuff. There's been Stephen King references in the first Life is Strange, for example. But it's obviously nice to get an acceptance of the fact that there is a big reference of Life is Strange, it in Lost Records, sorry. So it's obviously the time gap, so we know that. And I think maybe it might even lead more towards it being more of a Steve. Here's a thing for you, because you know Stephen King better than me. I don't really read as much as I should do, and you've read at least some amounts of Stephen King, and I've only seen like his films or like seen the adaptations of it. Do you think it's going to pivot towards being much more closer to like a Stephen King nod than it would be like a Twin Peaks one, for example? Because obviously I've never watched Twin Peaks. I need to watch it, but everyone's immediately like, oh, it's like Twin Peaks meets XYZ. It's Twin Peaks meets like this for Life is Strange 1. But I'm just curious if you think that this is going to be heavily more leaning towards what will look like a Stephen King book, at least.
I think in terms of like if it's going to be Twin Peaks or Stephen King, I think it's going to be more towards Stephen King, because Twin Peaks is more of it could be a combination of both, because Twin Peaks is very much like throws you for a loop and like left field, whereas Stephen King, it's more about the moral of what has been done that you can undo, kind of thing. Stephen King has very interesting writing style, but I think that if you watch the adaptations of the film, it's a much more watered down version of what watered down is in like, hey, this man is a little crazy. Let's make sure that we don't put all the crazy in the movies. Okay, that's great. A popular one is in the middle section of it, how they all become adults, and I'll just leave it there. That's probably the most interesting and notable one that they watered down. But yeah, no, it's just kind of like I think it will be more towards the Stranger Things Stephen King vibe, because Stranger Things is Stephen King. Like, Stranger Things is definitely a Stephen King aspect to it. But I think that you can't take away that Michel Koch was heavily influenced by Twin Peaks, and that kind of influence doesn't go away. Like, my music, I'm heavily influenced by Scientific, and like that kind of influence will never go away. I'm heavily influenced by Scientific. So as much as I will say like, oh yeah, this song will be more, it's Scientific in the back of my head,
Yeah, I'm by the guy who's second in your Spotify Wrapped as well. He's also a big influence for you.
Honestly.
So, no, it's interesting you made all those points. And I think like I've always had a very mixed bag with Stephen King, because I think like some of his stories are terrible. I'll be quite truthful. I think they're ridiculous.
Oh, which movies were terrible?
Well, the adaptations were terrible, if anything. There's that one with James Franco where he goes into the closet and goes back like X amount of years. What's it called now? Put in James Franco, Stephen King TV show. I can't remember what the name is. It's 1963.
TV show?
Called 1963?
Oh, it was 11/22/63. No,
that's
one
the
was...
one. Yeah,
even the story of that was dumb. Don't worry about that.
Okay, like that. Those are the ones I watched. I'm like, he's a very interesting and different writer. I know he also reminds me of if you obviously ever watched the Stephen King episode that they did in Family Guy, where they did the Shawshank Redemption, and he gets hit by that car flips around and writes a story, and he's like done. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, that kind
exactly.
like that actually makes perfect sense of what kind of author he is. But
I was
no,
about to
I'm
say
just
because
curious
like
about how. Go on. Go on.
yeah, Stephen King is very much like an acquired taste. It's also an acquired amount of
Yeah.
reading. Like they're massive. I remember he made one book not too long ago, at like 10 within the past 10 years. Like each chapter was like 50 pages long. And it was just like it was insane, dude. Like his writing is just like he just writes until he says no more. No more
Yeah.
writing today and it goes into it like they're long books, dude. They make Tom Clancy books look like
Oh,
children. Like and Tom
yeah. So
Clancy
say,
books are stupid long, dude. Try reading Rainbow Six. Like there's the book Rainbow Six is so
oh.
political, and not like the bad like oh it's so political. No, it's just like politics, and it's just like 750 pages of just politics and action and all that. So um
Yeah. I'm gonna stick to the Tom Clancy games if anything, because they were so good. Um,
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, let's just wrap up the end of this interview. So I got it loaded up here. So let me read it here. So no, the advert's gonna. There we go. In a world where anything is possible, Bloom and Rage will still put focus on its characters, with the team applying a wealth of experience gained during the development of Life is Strange 1 and 2 for aspects such as world building, interactive storytelling, and player agency. Koch says what they learned about the importance of character development and how to create attachments to characters is something that they're applying to Bloom and Rage. He said, and I quote, we've really pushed this love for characters even more in this game, pushing more of the interactivity, the relationships, the whole story, and our main cast of characters, end quote. Writing the story at the beginning of the pandemic, quote unquote, in a time period where we were not about to see our friends anymore, end quote, also gave rise to a desire to create story about connections, friendships, and how we connect with long lost friends.
Mm.
I don't know if that was actually meant to be a quote or not. The full thing is written really weird, but anyway. And while Bloom and Rage does quote unquote share common DNA with Don't Nod's previous games, it promises to deliver something unique thanks to a group of dynamic of 4 friends when it arrives in late 2024 on PC, Xbox Series X and S, and PS5. And Koch says finally, and I quote, their interactions together, their relationships, how they are to each other will be at the center of the game's interactivity. The notion of group dynamics is one of the main themes of the game. We really want our players to experience what is to find their place within a group of friends and to see if being part of a group can make someone stronger or in the opposite pushes them to go against their own beliefs, end quote. So just to quickly put on here as well, in that last paragraph, it's very interesting. This is the first time I actually fully read the article. I did say in my trailer breakdown that it's very interesting how some of the characters interact with each other. I don't think that they're all going to be like, buddy and all this kind of thing. I think that there's,
Hunky-dory.
yeah, I like that word, hunky-dory. Yeah, hunky-dory. I don't think they're all going to be hunky-dory. I think there's going to be like a little bit of a, as you see in It, it's like
Yes.
the imbalance is there. So I think some of those characters are going to have like a bit of beef and maybe a bit of like, a bit of sass and stuff. I hope there's some sassy characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our thing. So we've got kind of a timeline as well. So obviously the pandemic will be another influence of these games as well, which is seems to have had like a lot of effect on a lot of games recently. We're now catching up to the ones that have
And
been
a
in
lot of
development during that period.
like I knew that. Like even comedy specials are talking about, the pandemic. I was watching something recently. Oh yeah, I'll get to that. That will be my I forgot. I was gonna save that for my spread the arts. But yeah, there is a lot of art in general that is being affected by it, which, art is a reflection of the time period that you're in. And of course, if we don't incorporate um like one of the biggest pandemics in global history. And I say one of because this has happened pandemics have happened. But like this sort of history marking thing, like if it doesn't get marked in art, like I think that's a travesty in of itself.
Yeah. Well, one of the pandemics for us so far, we are millennials, so I'm sure we'll cross paths into something else as well, which will be crazy. Just to quickly, before we move on as well, I find it quite interesting. We put here the notion of group dynamics is one of the main themes of the game. We really want our players to experience what it is to find their place within a group of friends and to see if being part of a group can make someone stronger or, in the opposite, pushes them to go against their own beliefs. I wonder how that plays out. It's very interesting.
Beliefs that the 76ers will win an NBA championship. That will be something that's, kind of challenged and said that, like, I don't know if they will. And I'll be like, hey, Tyrese Maxey, he's still putting up points. And Joel Embiid, he put up 70 not too long ago. And then somebody will say, hey, Adam, you're on a Life is Strange podcast, not an NBA podcast. I'm challenging your beliefs right now. I think that kind of thing will happen in the game. I'm pretty sure.
I think that's a good way of ending that topic, as you just like signed us up there. But obviously, very excited for Lost Records at Bloom and Rage, and we'll continue to cover it as we will in this next topic. So it's a nice little addition that we got here. So this is going to Instagram here, and we are going to. I'm just double checking this. Yes, so we're going to Mary Pouliot, who works at Don't Nod Montreal, who's a cinematic artist at Don't Nod Montreal, and she has shared some lovely behind-the-scenes photos from mocap here on Lost Records Bloom and Rage. So I just wasn't, obviously, if it was just a behind-the-scenes mocap photo, maybe it would be like, we're not going to cover it. But I thought there's some little interesting details, because the first photo from Mary Pouliot is she's standing next to a swing. Now, we haven't seen
swings
anything.
On different levels.
There we go. This is the micro analysis that we do and stuff like this. So we obviously haven't seen anything that was in reference, like a footage of a swing moment. So that's quite a nice little thing there. I don't know who the person in the background is. I've tried to like zoom in and figure that out. I thought it was Luke at first, but it's not. Very different beard. So we've got two pictures there. We've got Mary Pouliot in one of them, and then we've got Mary Pouliot in the second one, which is her on mocap, but then also one of the actors in the background as well on the sofas.
Yeah, who's the Yellow Ranger?
The Yellow Ranger is... I'm going to find this out. You continue here.
Yes, so first and foremost, like, blessings to you that you got this kind of job. That's like a dream job to be a mocap director. So, kudos to you and all your hard work and getting to this spot. So, bravo, take your blessings. But also, did we find the Yellow Power Ranger? Oh, okay.
2 seconds. It's all on you now.
Okay. But yeah, so this is a really I never thought I would lead this podcast. Hello, everybody. Philadelphia. The game's gonna be in Philly. I swear it's not gonna be in Philly. I don't think so. Oh no, he's back. I don't get to take over anymore.
I was letting my cat in. He's been scratching the door, and I felt really bad, so I had to let him in.
I don't think it's gonna be set in Philly. Just to be on the record for anybody that's still listening.
You never know.
Anyways, but yes, I do appreciate the fact I'm guessing that the swings are on different levels because one actor is taller than the other, and in a scene they need to be eye to eye swinging. So it's probably a scene where they're having a conversation, but like to have a proper conversation, you need to be like at eye level. So I'm wondering that like they adjusted the swing set so in motion capture they can be on eye level.
I agree with that actually, because also as well, think about the characters in the game. Some of them seem much bigger than the others. So for example, I like our singer one. I think it could potentially be that character who could potentially be on that. Was it the Yellow Ranger that you picked out?
Yes, the Yellow Ranger.
That is Natalie LeConte.
Oh, well, there you go.
So that is them on the back couch. Looking at someone else though, so I'm assuming that they're going to be with another actor.
Yes.
So I don't think that they're alone in that scene. Also as well, let's just make an assumption that photo from the swing is this scene that they're filming, because Mary is wearing the same clothes.
Oh, yes.
And it would make sense that they're on this part of the set. So it's probably from the same shoot segment. So if Mary's there and then Natalie's in the back, assuming that one of the other actors is there with them.
Nice. Very cool. Very
detective
cool
work. So I can't remember how I actually referenced which character. I thought Natalie was Kat, who is the ginger-haired character. But I don't think that's right.
Oh.
I think I think I thought Natalie was Swan afterwards. I can't remember how I phrased this, how I did this. I think this could potentially. So I think that on that scene, it could be Natalie as Swan,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other person is Amelia Sargison, who I think is Nora, and Amelia looks quite taller, but she is stood up in this photo that I'm looking at. So I'm making just an assumption here, but also as well, here's one. Look at the photo, for example, that we have of the 4 characters when they're looking down the pool. Nora looks like one of the tallest, along with, or the short-haired character looks like one of the tallest, along with the character with the green dye in the back of their hair. So I think it could potentially be one of the 2 bigger characters with the small ones.
Plot twist. That's
There we
actually
go.
Luke without a beard.
Could be Luke without a beard, but Luke doesn't have a black beard though. They have a beard there
Maybe. No, I mean in the yellow suit.
in the yellow suit.
Yellow suit.
So,
That's actually.
I don't think that's him. Nah.
Are you sure?
I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it positive. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, actually,
Oh.
I'm gonna say, I think that we are on that side of that segment, because if you look in the TV in the reflection, it looks like Mary is standing next to this thing, this contraption that they built.
I'm gonna say that this scene involves swings, and
You think?
I think so, and I think that Mary. Oh, there we go. Sorry, everybody. I have to change the wire on this guy. And I think Mary is the motion capture person in this.
Do you think they had their meetings there as well? Creativity meetings. I can imagine like Luke and Michel just sitting on those swings, going back and forth.
Yeah, and everybody else sits crisscross applesauce around Michel and Luke as they like do little swings. And it's like, listen, guys, we have to like up our production rates, and everybody's sitting and they've raised their hands, saying if they can go to the bathroom or not.
Potentially. No Philip Bark on the set. No Philip Bark here. Where is Philip Bark?
He is on the monkey bars.
Oh, we'll see Philip Bark somewhere, don't worry. I'm sure he'll pop up here and there. But no, interesting though nonetheless. I think like it's interesting for her to share the behind the scenes of the mocap. It seems very interesting as well for the mocap. Yes. But then more so this picture, which you can see on Mary's Instagram, is of this scene, which we haven't seen in actual footage so far. So we have a little swing scene. Maybe very much like a Max and Chloe moment, Life is Strange 1 vibes kind of thing, where they're chatting, even though there's no swing in the first Life is Strange game. I'm just talking about like a sentimental moment. And again, as well, just to tie in before we move on, it kind of ties in with what Michel said, where some of the characters will be closer than the others, and then also we'll have more closer connection to characters in the game. I think it's more about building those moments that we'll find.
Yeah.
Should we move into the next topic?
I think so, yes.
Obviously, and I've been waiting a long time for this one, because this is a big, big topic, Adam. So we are now going back to Life is Strange here, because the Life is Strange Twitter account on the 24th of January, we're recording the 27th of January, posted 5 years ago today, Life is Strange 2 Episode 2 Rules was released. What is your most vivid memory of the episode? And if you follow us on Twitter or X, I tagged Adam in this immediately and said, look at this anniversary, because this is the best episode of Life is Strange 2, and potentially maybe in the series as well. Adam, I know you have very special memories of Rules.
I just sent you one of the replies on a DM of somebody putting Vince McMahon, the whole like... oh, that's how I feel about it, but except not emotional. I'm just like, no, let's not talk about that one. Episode 2 of Rules. It's out. It is my least favorite episode of any Life is Strange game. Let's just put it that way. You put down the controller for 7 minutes straight watching a cutscene, and it starts off that way. It starts off with... What's that?
I think you should put the controller down for 7 minutes.
No, that during a game, like it's like me going to a basketball game. Like, hey man, let's just stand here with the basketball for 7 minutes in the middle of the game. You know, like
You're all
not
about
during
basketball
the
today, aren't you? And the thingies and sports references. I could tell that
yeah.
when I got a video from you, and I was like seeing this basketball TikTok video. I was like, yeah, he's coming on with a
I'm
sports movie.
very excited for the Sixers, man. Like the Sixers are actually like fun to watch after a decade of not being fun to watch. So yes, I'm hyped. Um, Tyrese Maxey going to be MVP, but no, he's not. Yeah, he's not. But yeah, going back to Life is Strange 2, episode 2 rules. I think in term, put it this way, put it this way, it might be my least favorite, but it is my least favorite in the way of greatness. I would still rather play Life is Strange rules over any other modern game today. Because at least it invokes emotion, at least it invokes some choice aspect. So it's more of just like it's a short end of the stick, but at least it's good quality wood. I don't know what else kind of metaphor.
I just think you're upset because your boy Chris was relegated to side role at this point by Michel and Jean-Luc and Raoul and Luke,
Not
and you were like,
only
"Nah, I'm not having
that,
this." And that's why you're
but
upset with the
Chris's
rules.
dad, blackout drunk, comes and gives him a piggyback ride. I'm like, excuse me? So unreal. He finished at 750 milliliters of bourbon. And he's just like, yeah, I'll give my kid a piggyback ride. You give me 2 glasses of whiskey. I'm just like, it's time for bed. It's time for me to go to bed. I'm going to bed.
But Chris's dad is a raging alcoholic in that game. That's why he has
He's
like.
not
That's
even
why he can still stand up
raging
his feet.
alcoholic. Like,
of course he is. He's like a raging alcoholic in that game. Like,
I wouldn't say he's raging. I think he's a depressive alcoholic. I think he just like swallows his feelings with the bottle in cans. It's just like
this man dissed his kid. His kid ran up the treehouse in the Captain Spirit and almost fell and broke his neck because he was like that upset. That is a raging alcoholic to me. Like he obviously
you haven't lived in America long enough, man. Like, that's the thing. Like in North Dakota, like where I live, that's called a Tuesday. It's
God.
But no, he finishes all that whiskey. He's like, "Oh, sorry. Oh, oops, sorry there, bub. Are you okay?" And then gives him a piggyback ride. Like, no, it's just like absolutely not. But yeah, no, I think Rules was the weakest of the strongest game. Put it that way. Like I is my least favorite, but it's still greatness. In the same way, whereas like. I watched Gilmore Girls and I hated it, but at least it invoked emotion in me. At least Gilmore Girls like made me scream at the screen versus a lot of boring drab shows that are on. I'm just like, what is the point of this? This was the Gilmore Girls of Life is Strange.
I love this episode.
I bet
I'm not a hater like Adam. I really enjoyed episode 2 Rules. I played this long release time window. Spoke very highly of it when I reviewed it as well, much to Adam's disbelief. But no, I really enjoyed it though. But I thought it was quite a nice sandwich between episode 1 and 3. Obviously, in hindsight, it's great to know how episode 3 played out, which I think is the best now in the entire series. We have like a nice wedge that happens between episode 1 because everything hits the fan in the first episode, and there's kind of like a little bit of a moment of like gradual groundingness in this episode. So we obviously have like a little bit of a sentimental opener with like Sean and Daniel and like the dog getting like for the video watchers there. But then I like the fact that you kind of go to the grandparents' house and you kind of get a bit more exposition on Karen
after 7 minutes of putting the controller down.
Just you in the 7 minutes. You in 7 minutes.
7 minutes. Of putting
you could be a good Wesker when he's like 7 minutes.
7 minutes. I timed it. Like I put on my stopwatch and I was like, "What?"
I hope you weren't like Monica in Friends when she's like 7, 7, 7.
I am.
No, I like the fact that you're in the house and you spend time. I love the connection with the awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit as well, which I believe recently turned an anniversary. Maybe I should have actually put this in the news segment. Did it have an anniversary? I saw something tweet about it. No, it wasn't an anniversary. I think it was something tweet about it. Which I don't think is available for download anymore, actually, Captain Spirit. I don't think you can download it anymore. Yeah. I don't think
Let
you
me
can
just
download anymore.
let me confirm this.
Yeah, please double check it because I did try and advise someone to check out the PlayStation Store and they couldn't find it unless they were searching for something completely different. But obviously, we had our precursor content for Captain Spirit. You played the spin-off that they had before this game came out, so all the things start to connect as well. You can bring over little things. Look, see, searching and you can't find it, which tells you a lot
No,
about it.
I see that you can get it on Xbox, and now I'm going on a PlayStation.
Hmm.
No,
I'm definitely sure you
I
can
can
find
get it on PlayStation. I can get it on both.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Oh, someone said to me that you couldn't find it on there. I thought it was like,
Yeah, because I
interesting.
can see add to library right here, and Xbox you can get it for free.
Ah, lovely. Ignore what I said then. It is available on.
And I'm checking Steam right now.
He is checking Steam.
I am checking the Steamies.
We're
I
doing
have to put in
some
my age.
Meisner here.
I'm saying I'm born in 1972.
We can do some Meisner here. I am Steam. And then
I
you
own
are Steam.
Steam.
I
Yeah,
am Steam.
play. Yeah, you can get it on Steam. So
Oh, there we go. So it is
no,
available.
you can still get Captain Spirit on everywhere.
Perfect. Ignore what I said then. It is still available. The person who told me that is misleading me. You can still play Life is Straight, Captain Spirit, which is great as well. I love that experience. It's fantastic. But on the top of the fact that you can bring it into rules, which is quite nice because all the stuff that if you have save data, you can bring it over and it starts influencing certain things in episode 2 rules. And then you get spending time with Chris, which is quite nice. Daniel and Chris spend a bit of time together. I love the visit to the, what would you call it? You're American. The Christmas tree shopping thing. Where they're going with.
I don't think it's called anything here. I think it's
Is it
just
not got a
called tree.
name?
No,
Is
it's
it just
just
tree
like
shopping?
yeah. I don't think we call it. It's like let's go get. You just kind of say like let's go get a tree, and then you just go. I don't really think, but I've always had fake trees growing up, so I never really went to go get a real tree.
Well, I never had a tree, so I beat you there. So don't try and like boo-hoo me with some story. I never even had a tree to start
Oh
with.
no, it's not. No, like here, like when I moved to like the Midwest, and I said I've always had a fake tree, they were offended that I've always
Really?
gotten fake. Yeah, they're just like, "What? That's not a real tree." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the point. So it won't catch fire." It's just like it's a dead tree, it's dead plants, and you're putting electronics on this thing, and you're like, "Oh, there's no house fires here." You are putting electronics on a dead piece of wood. Things happen. So yeah, I got a fake tree.
101. That's 101.
Yeah.
No, but I really enjoyed it. My favorite moment on that entire thing was when we meet Cass in that place, and you get a nice little rendition of first aid kits. Are they called first aid kit? What's the song called?
Sure.
It's first aid kit.
Yeah.
It's me. What was I can't remember what the song is like. Oh my god. I used to remember listening to it all the time when they played it. But no, you get a nice rendition from Cass playing a song, which was quite nice. And then you meet Finn. Nice little interactions. Even the ending's quite nice as well. You almost get Chris gets like almost run over. Did you get run over in yours?
I played it a couple times, unlike you, who have only played it once.
Yeah, but special memory for me.
I played Life is Strange through 4 times at this point, maybe 4 or 5 times. And I've had all the endings with everything. Well, like in terms of the Chris thing. But yes, he's been I think the first time I played it, he did get run over.
How did you do that?
Because I didn't care. I was like, go ahead, kid, go get run over. Why not?
See, that's why you don't like the episode. That's the point when you realize your boy Chris wasn't like the main character in the
Not
game.
only that, but it's like you build up this character of Mushroom, and it's like, oh, he's got a dog now, and it gets eaten by a cougar. Like what? Huh? Like we have like 30 minutes of runtime with this dog, and I'm like, why? Like, why didn't we build it up? Why didn't we make it more sad? Like, I don't care about the dog at this point. It gets eaten by a cougar, and I'm like, no, just let the cougar grow because the cougar has more runtime than Mushroom did anyway. So just like let the cougar go.
You saw that personally, didn't you? That's why I think you don't like the episode.
Because cougars ate my dog one time.
Yeah, that's why.
That's why. Because in Philly, it's just overrun by cougars. Well, like not like animal cougars anyway, but like it's overrun by cougars.
I think it's a great episode. I think
I'm glad.
Still... like seeing eye to eye on a different episode. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a really good second episode
Yes.
in the series, and it sets up really nicely for the third one, which obviously by the time I'd reviewed it, I really enjoyed. So I thought it was a nice kind of like, sandwich in between episode 1 and 3. But nonetheless, as I said, very great. I thought Cass's introduction was one of the best introductions for any character in that series. I thought her introduction was done perfectly. I was like, perfect. Wow.
And I can't wait for the subreddit to hate me and put me as the enemy.
Oh, that would be a good topic, actually. I might even submit that myself. I'd be like, I know
subreddit
description.
How much does the Life is Strange subreddit hate me?
Yeah, I might even just do it. Be like, I'm not putting it for like self promotion, but I'm like, can you believe this guy doesn't like episode 2 rules? Like, who is he? And I put in the comments,
Who
and be like, boo in the comments. Upvote my own vote.
You're just gonna make like 35 different Reddit users like, oh bloody hell, this guy over here.
Who's to say I haven't already?
Yeah. What, you want to fight in a pub or something?
I think someone actually knows what my username is on there as well. I got a comment tagged on like one of the things. I was like, oh no. It's like, I'm a lurker. I'm a Reddit lurker. I'm like, no one's meant to know who I am on there. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's go into our final piece of news, and then obviously a big piece of news, which is our topic as well. So this is a little minor one, which is from Don't Nod on 25th of January, tweeted, great news, everyone. Jusant is now available in King Kong.
King Kong. King Kong is now playing the game.
Oh my god. Right. Don't Nod tweeted, great news, everyone. Jusant is now available in Hong Kong, Indonesia, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea, and Taiwan on PlayStation 5. Get your climbing gear ready. We cannot wait for you all to join our amazing community. That is the news. So obviously Jusant is now available in more regions, and I don't think we'll have much more to add to that, except for the fact of, have you finished it yet?
No, it's in my backlog. I liked what I played. It just like when it came out, I was finishing up the Christmas album, and I just did not have the time. And then December, I was just so tired. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to it because it only takes according to how long to beat. Let's find out. Jusant.
It wasn't long, I remember.
Yeah, I think it was like 4 hours, probably. 4.5 hours to beat.
Nice. Yeah,
so I can probably
at some point.
I can definitely beat it in like a weekend. I just haven't gotten around to it because, yeah, tired. But yeah, it's surprising to me that it wasn't in Japan, or Singapore, which is kind of crazy. That it wasn't in these regions to begin with, but you know that's how publishing works. Sometimes it's just like it doesn't end up in the regions that you intended to. You know, I guess it's my turn again. If the new Don't Nod game is in Philly, that would be cool. I'm just saying.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm back. Don't worry.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to pick up Jusant at some point and play it for myself. Not yet though. I need to play through like the hundreds and thousands of other games I want to play. And Twin Mirror is on my list of things to play this year. I really want to play that for some reason.
That one's a definitely short one. Yeah. 6 hours.
I'm intrigued to see it. Because that was their first self-published game, and I want to see like what it actually did, because it was quite an interesting game to have come out, and it's one that didn't do the best in terms of financially.
It's underrated. I think Twin Mirror was. I really do think that like I saw where they were going. Is it an amazing story? Not particularly, but I think it's definitely underrated for what it was.
I'm going to check it out at some point. But anyway, we'll just put that news out there for anyone who's listening. If you do want to check out Jusant, it is available in different regions. Adam, main topic.
Yes.
So this was a big, big topic. Someone actually even sent this to me on Twitter as well, which is quite wild. Suggest if we talk about it and see on StrangeCast. So for FYI, I had actually seen this comment. I just ignored it. Someone posted it, and I just ignored it. And it's like made news on like another subreddit, and then on top of that, even a publication has covered his news. I'm like, okay, right. So to put into the topic, we're going to gaming leaks and rumors subreddit. They put someone on Reddit claimed to have seen what could be Life is Strange 3, also known as Life is Strange Aperture. Is it Aperture?
Aperture.
Aperture, thank you, Aperture.
How do you spell favorite?
Oh yeah, come on, don't do that to me.
How do you spell colors?
Yeah, well, we spell it right. That's why I don't cover Life is Strange through colours on this channel anymore. Like, you're not spelling colours right. You're not getting mentioned on the channel. Anyway, as this is posted on Reddit, grain of salt is attached to the top. Yeah,
Yes.
big grain of salt here. While browsing the Life is Strange subreddit, someone in the comment told about having seen Life is Strange 3, which would have been called Life is Strange Aperture. For anyone interested, the Life is Strange 3, and this is a comment, I think it was. Yeah, this is a comment. So, for anyone interested, Life is Strange 3 content presented to us in the survey was a direct sequel to the first Life is Strange with a 10-year time jump. Max teaches photography at a college in a small town and hasn't used her powers since the end of Life is Strange. It follows the time where Life is Strange. It follows the time where. It follows the timeline where Chloe dies.
Chloe dies. Let's go, bro.
That's because they don't want to pay.
Save.
That's because they don't want to pay Ashley Birch money.
Nope. I choose Pompidou every time. Every time.
So during a walk through the park late at night, Max comes across a dead student of hers and contemplates whether or not to use her powers to figure out who committed the crime. The game mechanic was changed a bit, as the working title of the game was Life is Strange Aperture, and using Max's camera would simulate the time mechanic through the lens of what she was looking at. We saw different character models of what Max looked like. 10 years into the future and concept art of the town and college campus. We also concepts of an apartment that you could own and customize with different furnitures and decorations. There was also a side quest that involved a cat that would eventually become your pet. There was also talk of an expansion and microtransactions, but only on the basis of what, quote unquote, what is the most you'd like to pay for alternative outfits, apartment furnishings, or holiday items when certain holidays would come around, end quote. It almost seemed ... live service-ish. But they didn't give us any other info than that. All in all, it seemed very promising, and everyone who participated in the Zoom were very excited for it. So it's a big part. So to kind of give you more context on this was in its Life is Strange subreddit, and it was in reference to the interview that we spoke about at the beginning of the show from Michelle about Life is Strange in the universe. And this user had commented in there. So the comments are still there if you want to go and check it out. It's about 8 days old from the time we're talking about it here. The user is deleted. Do that as you will. And it's a long section of like tons of things. They're claiming that the survey that was like seen 2 years ago, which I think we covered on Life is Strange.
We did cover that, and we're just like, no, it's not real. We talked about that survey. We're just like, no, that's not a real survey. That's like just like, would you like a new Life is Strange game? Not like, oh, it's in development.
Yeah. It was a survey that was sent out, and we covered it on here. Then there's just like, people went berserk on here. There's one thing I wanted to point out here. So in the comments, someone put they're probably referring to the survey released in June 2022, a year after the release of True Colors and Remastered Collection. Looking at the comments under the thread, there are mentions of an NDA, but comments made by user USpaceCowboy321 seems to imply it was mostly a Zoom call asking which characters and games were their favorites. Could you confirm? And then Space Cowboy replied saying there was an NDA, so I'll neither confirm nor deny any of the claims. My comments in the other thread were only about the survey they sent out, not the Zoom call. As far as I remember, everything in the Zoom call falls under NDA, so I won't see anything about it. Adam, do you want me to talk first?
Yeah, go for it. It seems like you have a lot of thoughts.
So, right. Let me just say one thing as well. There's a reason why it's a grain of salt on the comment.
Say more than one thing.
Maybe. Like I've been cooking on this for like a while. So one thing I'll say to you is like maybe everything that they're saying is true. The problem is none of it's verified. There is no substantial claim here to support this. There is nothing to suggest that any of this is real. On top of that as well, have you ever seen an NDA? Like, I mean, genuinely, this is not even me coming across as patronizing or condescending. Have you ever seen an NDA? I have actors. Yeah, thank you. I've even signed one myself as well last year. I have actors who come on this channel, even from Life is Strange. Do you not think that they still look at that NDA agreement before they come on? Do you still think that they're privy not to talk about certain things? Even in the NDA agreement I signed last year, I could tell you what I went for the NDA because that is now expired, but the contents of what happened at that place is still under NDA. You would have to be the biggest moron on the planet to go onto Reddit of all places and then put this out there, because everything in that call or whatever it was, the survey marketing, is going to fall under NDA. There is no chance that you would hold on to that. What was it, 2022? And 2 years later, randomly pop up on a subreddit and post that and see, oh yeah, this is all that happened in it. You would actually have Square Enix coming up your behind with lawsuits that you could never imagine, because an NDA at the end of the day is a contract. It is a binding contract.
Can I put out devil's advocate?
Yes.
Why is his comment deleted? Like, why is he now deleted?
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. It could also be like, it could also just be someone
that's
who's
like a devil's. That's not me like saying like, well, Adnan is deleted, so they probably did. No, it's more of like, more for conversation wise. Do you think that he was deleted because Square Enix came around and said, "Oh, bloody hell, boy, we want to have a fight in the pulp outside there"? Boop. They don't. You don't say "boop," do you? That's a Canada thing. Yeah. Boop.
I mean, they might have deleted it for other reasons. I don't know if it's Square Enix. I think like the problem is if it's Square Enix, they'd be coming for this person because they'd be asking Reddit for the details. Like, you are in. If this is real, you are in so much. Like, I can't even tell you. You would have to be so stupid to do this. You would be absolutely taken to hell and back for this. You do not violate NDA agreements. You see it as well with like it's more like passive a little bit. Like you see it with some of the games being leaked when they send them to influencers or whatever else with it, like, you know, pre-footage. And then what happens there is that the publisher never works with that person again. And sometimes as well, they might even take action, because if you sign an NDA agreement, you've basically agreed to whatever has happened there. You're making a legal binding agreement. The comment
I
with the user.
I was gonna say, like, I can't even say like, now this is public knowledge because you can see me. I was an extra in the movie Creed, with the first one, so that's public knowledge that I was in it. Now, in terms of like the things you could and could not say about the movie, I'm still unsure after all these years, and I still won't say anything. But I can tell you one thing, that like things were leaked, right, by an extra, and just like the entire production stopped, like in there, and they announced in front of all the extras saying like, someone leaked this, we tracked you down, we tracked down your phone, we know who you are, and they escorted that person right out in front of everybody, and they announced it, like saying like, making an example that you will be like punished for but that's all I'll say. It's just kind of like they take that stuff seriously, dude, like, and they will announce that, man. But it's funny.
No, I because I've heard those stories with like, you know, the horror ones and film sets. I can't remember. I think there's a famous director. Was it Kubrick or someone who gave like different script endings? I think for like The Shining or something. It was
I can also say
director.
that happened on the set of Creed too.
Yeah. They ain't gonna give you all the same script. I think like there's even a famous example of like, I think Elon Musk like tracked someone down at like Tesla, and they had like I think from the email they sent, like, they think they left like a gap in between like certain letters just to track who's leaked the email. Like each person got a different email, so it's like when you see it, then you can tell like it's different. Companies are too smart now because they know anyone's going to blab for anything. So it's like on this as well, because the user commented a lot. There's so much stuff in here. Like they were just adding all kinds of things. I think like they basically said like, they didn't take screenshots from what they were being shown apparently, because like their name was appearing at the bottom of like the, you know, of the Zoom call or whatever it was. So it's like you can't screenshot things. So obviously if you screenshot it, they know it's you that's being shown this. And they did this process of like, you know, that they went through the entire thing, tried to explain all the details and stuff. I think personally, the person just was like, whoever did this with a grain of salt was just doing it to like, you know, tease things, if anything. Like, maybe you were shown something. I don't know whoever was on this call. Like, you probably were shown whatever it was. I don't know what was seen in there, what might have been presented. Maybe whatever they're saying is completely true. At that point, you know, thanks for sharing this, but also, you know, best of luck with the lawsuits and everything else you can be feeling, because, you know, you basically just walked yourself into like the biggest like problem with a Japanese publisher.
Truffalot commented, "Careful if you sign an NDA, but at the same time, that's awesome, and thanks for sharing."
Just like a nice little like, you know.
Well, careful there, Bob, but also thanks.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, that's great.
So let's just talk about this, right? So
Mm,
there are certain things that probably add credence towards this. I think like one of the things that we spoke about on a previous StrangeCast was when Deck Nine did a massive recruitment drive in
yes.
terms of like they had job listings open. We talked about it. It was after True Colors. We speculated that it could be anything they're working on because at that point the Expanse had also been announced. So we were like, they're working on the Expanse, they're recruiting, for all these different positions. Potentially they're working on something else. We also know last year, if you remember as well, if you followed the podcast, that Deck Nine went through a round of layoffs as well. So people were lost their jobs as well. We didn't know what departments they were in. There were big figures who worked at Deck Nine who like left the studio because they didn't want other people fired, to be laid off. I think Mallory Littleton was one of those people. She worked on Life is Strange. She was one of the figures at Deck Nine. Potentially, that could have been this project. Potentially, and they scrapped it. The coloured project might have been binned off. There's also no validation that it could have just been Deck Nine that's done this. It could have been any studio. It could have been completely exported by Square Enix because Square Enix now no longer has two studios working on Life is Strange. It just has the one, from what we know, at least for
Yes.
that time being. So that's all in itself can be added to it. I also know something else, which I'm not doing this for clickbait or sensation. I talked about this to Adam off podcast. If I put it out here, it would like literally be like, come again. And it makes a lot of
Yes.
sense. It was something that I was privy towards, private information. And it's just, it would just be pure speculation. It's not guaranteeing anything. It would just be pure speculation, which would add to credence to this potentially,
Yes.
or something. But I'm not going to say what it is because I can't break that trust or anything else.
Yeah, it was from your uncle who works in Nintendo.
Yeah, he privately whispered in my ear, being like, "Hey, Life is Strange."
My
Aperture is being
uncle
made.
works in Nintendo, and you know what he said to me about Square Enix and Life is Strange?
Oh god, oh god.
You were saying this on the playground, weren't we? Like we were on the monkey bars.
Yeah. I went on Reddit and shared it as well, and then deleted it afterwards because
I deleted it.
a
Yeah.
little bit of giggles there, here and there. No, but I do know something which would probably be like, probably send people like, berserk. But again, I'm not going to share that. That's just not. It would be pure speculation. It doesn't add anything to it, but it would just be like people would be like, oh, actually, maybe it just add more weight to it. I don't believe this in any way, shape, or form. I have decently well placed connections with certain people. I've never heard anything of this. I could be completely wrong because again, to find out this information, for example, if it was shown during a survey, marketing, research thing, would be very difficult because people are under NDAs. No one's going to really talk under an NDA agreement. Like the Life is Strange True Colors leaks came out, and they proved out to be quite reliable as well in hindsight when they went on Reset Era and they were validated and stuff, and then eventually it was revealed that. I've never heard anything about this for 2 years. I've spoken to other people here and there. I've not heard anything about it. I just find it a bit wild that in a random Reddit thread, someone would basically just break all kinds of NDAs if they were in place and be like, yeah, this was it. And it's like, it just doesn't add anything to it. It sounds also as well. Let me just say this as well. It sounds so stupid. The entire thing just sounds so stupid. Like the plot, the stuff. Come on, Adam. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Which is why,
like imagine you go up to Michel and be like, yeah, the mechanic in the game is the rewind, and it's done through Max's camera lens. I can imagine.
You know
his
what I
face
was
being
thinking
like,
immediately, and I was like typing it in. I was like, wait, am I stupid? And like as we were talking, I typed, and yeah, this reminds me of almost like, did someone just take the plot point of Fatal Frame and just make it Life is Strange? And I'm like, I think this is like it reminds me of Fatal Frame, But there is some credence behind it. So there's like I'm half and half on this news piece, honestly, because like I think it could be true, right?
Yeah.
I think it could be true that they did hear this in a Zoom meeting. I think that they are right on that, but in terms of just like, is this Life is Strange 3? Which technically it will be Life is Strange 4, as we were talking about it, because we reported on this that Katie Bentz shared some images and on about True Colors, and on the original title it was Life is Strange 3. So technically this would be Life is Strange 4. But that's what I mean, where I'm just like, I don't think that's the real one. I just think that like they had a Zoom meeting, they surveyed people and like, oh, what do you think of this? And then they just, went from there. Again, I don't know the full Hollywood writing process, but I know from my own standing in terms of like writing stories, I do get other people's feedback and like, hey, I'm thinking about this kind of story. What do you think about this? You know, like, will it have some kind of pickup? So I think he's on the money that he was surveyed from it, but I don't think it's the actual story.
Who said it's a he?
I don't know. I'm just
Speculating, just like this. Look, like, let's just take certain things into timelines and perspective. So, for example, we've talked about it. We've talked about the survey being posted online. I don't even think you were meant to be post that survey. I think it was someone who was on you from like had posted it on Twitter with like the screen grab, and it was like, I don't think you're not meant to even be posting those kind of things. I think when you're invited, and it's like, you know, quiet, because like the industry is very the video game industry works in very quiet ways. Everything is under code name. Every single actor always says this. I worked on this project. I had no idea it was until like I got into it. So we had covered the survey. We had the news, obviously, that Deck 9 was going to be recruiting for more developers, which they had. Obviously, Deck 9 had layoffs last year as well, which that could potentially even be this project if you wanted to connect it to it, because it could have been a project that they started commissioning and they were scrapped because they were like, nah, we're not going to do this in the end, yeah? So
yes,
that's potentially it. However, there's contradictions. So the beginning part, for example, for anyone interested, the Life is Strange free content presented to us in that survey was a direct sequel to the first Life is Strange. It wasn't Life is Strange free, because we've known this as well. Life is Strange True Colors was in development for years. Katie had obviously posted her vlogs from True Colors, and we'd seen those an original logo in the background that said Life is Strange free. It wasn't True Colors, it said Life is Strange free, so that would technically be dubbed Life is Strange free. This rumor would be Life is Strange 4, which fair enough, maybe they've just typoed it, but they call it Life is Strange 3. We've had the idea that Max is teaching before. That's like been said before. That doesn't surprise me. A 10-year jump has come out with no kind of like context of what this person is saying. It's like, why is there a 10-year jump? Like,
yes,
you know, like at the beginning of the episode, we were talking about Michel saying there's a 27-year jump. That's a reference to it. You know, at least they have like a bit more of a substantial thing from it. This is just a 10-year jump, so cool.
Well, if it's coming out next year, that's 10 years since
they're dropping the remake then. I told you this. They're dropping the remake then.
Well, like, that also could be substantial because it will be, if this is all true, like, it will be 10 years next year.
Yeah.
You know? That
well,
would
you
be
even
wild.
said that you think there'll be a Life is Strange game this year, which I agree with now.
I think there will be a Life is Strange game this year. But I could be wrong. They could be waiting. Like it could be like a lot of games where not just Banishers where it's finished and they're just waiting. There's been a couple games just this past year where they're like, hey, it's finished, but like we're delaying it so it times up well. And it could be done, or it could be close to done, and it could be done this year, but they're waiting until the 10-year anniversary of Life is Strange to put it out. Which would be wild, you know?
It would be something. It'd be quite unusual. It doesn't even know if it's Deck 9. It could be another studio. If you're taking it as at face value, this rumor of what it is.
You have to ask your uncle from Nintendo.
Yeah, maybe. Playground chat will come out.
Next Thanksgiving, just ask him.
Well, he whispered in my ear saying, he's like, I would tell you the truth of like what's happening, but he's like, Adam hates episode 2 rules, so he's like, I'm not telling you anything. So I was like, oh damn, I'm going to have to replace him as co-host and get someone else in now. Okay, right. So let's just take another thing. Like, so obviously, Max teaches photography at a college in a small town. What small town? Why is she in this random small town? Anyway, hasn't used her powers since the end of Life is Strange. Okay. Follows the timeline where Chloe Price dies. I've kind of joked saying that it would probably make sense because Ashley Birch's like royalty fees would be through the roof at this point. Like, she ain't going to come cheap now. But it's just like, it's a bit weird. During a walk through the park late at night, Max walks across a dead student of hers and contemplates whether to use her powers for crime. It's like, why is this turned into like a horror game almost? Like
that's what I mean. That's
like
not very
Life
is Strange horror, you know?
No,
like it has
Life
to
is
be.
Strange is mystery with horror influences.
Yeah, like which tells me this isn't Don't Nod that's making this game. That's
anyone.
Not. Yeah, I mean, it could be someone. It could be Konami. It sounds like a Konami game.
So let's get the lead devs of like Castlevania and Silent Hill to start making a Life is Strange game. Let's see how that goes. Like maybe it'll like.
Who made Fatal Frame? Tecmo. Never mind. Tecmo made Fatal Frame. Um, but yeah, no, it's like I don't know. I don't think she walks across a dead student and be like, oh no, like, because then like I don't know. I don't think that's how it works out. I think more believably, like she sees like on the news that one of her students is dead. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Or
or
Rachel
she
Amber
reads,
is missing by
yeah,
poster
like,
smartly.
yeah, something like a missing poster, and
Bit
then
more
like it kind
nuanced.
of, yeah, like if she sees it like a missing poster, that's like strikes her PTSD, you know.
Yeah.
But like, finding a dead student, and be like, oh, game proceeds, and just like, no, that's not. It's not how it would work. Writers
So
are better than that. If you need a good
the
writer or a musician,
yeah. Maybe you're working on this. So
if you need a
like in
chef,
itself,
yes.
this just screams like the bottom part, like because like you could technically have like left it at where Chloe dies, then it would be like, oh, this is actually a bit interesting. The extra part just makes it sound like a completely different game and genre and franchise. It doesn't fit anything like Life is Strange. Then it's like the
Yeah.
game mechanic was changed a bit as a working title. The game was called Life is Strange Aperture. I should have like rehearsed this before we came on Aperture. Like,
Yeah.
that's a weird name in itself. I would never buy it if it was called.
Well,
that.
how do you
I'd
pronounce
probably
oregano?
oregano?
No, you don't. Don't lie to me.
Oregano.
You want to say it like a Brit? Oregano. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Oh god, we say everything right. Just to point that out there. But anyway, the name of the game sounds stupid. I would probably stop. I would never ever like buy it if it was called that, because that's just stupid. It doesn't fit in the franchise's name. Like Life is Strange Before the Storm works because it's not a numbered entry. And it's a little bit different, but like even like Life is Strange goes different. This just sounds stupid.
Yeah,
on top of that,
based on
uses
all
Max's
the games.
camera.
Yeah. Aperture, no. And it might be a working title, like you said, but it's like, I don't think that's the final title.
But
no
even
way.
that early on in game development, they would have the working titles.
Yeah,
Like
you don't call
Aperture.
it like Project X, like to have a full title. That's wild.
That's
in a survey.
Funny you mentioned that. Yeah. I don't think you'd have that. Obviously, you'd know it if you're in a survey. You'd know it's about Life is Strange because like you're in the survey of it. Everything else would be under codename. There's no way they'd give you the working title Life is Strange Aperture. I refuse to believe that that's even a working title they'd even give you in one of those things. Like here's my concept of like service as well. They do surveys for like a lot of games, for films and stuff like that. It reminds me of that Simpsons sketch where they show Poochie to all the characters. You ever watch the Simpsons?
Yeah.
Like they show you just a scene of like Poochie and they take feedback from it. I don't think they're going to give you this much information. You're also suggesting here that's almost like a working development game because you're seeing character models and stuff. This seems like so early on. If anything, why are they showing you so much stuff here?
It's funny you say that because like also, so did you hear that Game Shark is coming back?
Oh wow, really?
It's coming back as AI Shark. Okay. So that's not the worst part. But then they said like in AI Shark, right? They said like we're gonna be like developing for all these different games. And the new and they said the time frame when the next Switch is coming out. In the actual article, they said fall of 2024. And again, I was listening to the Wolf Den podcast, and they were just like, there is no chance in God's green earth that Nintendo would trust that information to a new company that's being bought out by a different company. Like, there's no way that Nintendo's like, oh, by the way, we're coming out fall of 2024. It's like, you're going to give this information to that in the same way that you're saying, you're telling me that Square Enix is going to give that sort of information to surveyors. Like, pack your bags.
Yeah, okay. And also on top of that as well, I said this before, it's like you and I don't. It's like Luke saying to me like, "Oh yeah, we're making a game called Lost Records. Don't mention it to anyone." I'm like, "Cool." we didn't know what Lost Records was. We knew that Montreal were making a game. Then I didn't even pry enough to go that far. They ain't gonna tell anyone.
That's the thing.
Whereas,
I want to put that out there that like Luke watches our show, like Luke follows us. That doesn't mean that Luke is telling us anything. Like that's the thing. It's just like.
Maybe to you.
Only to me, yeah, because me and him are beard buddies. But like I'm putting that out there. That's just like, yeah, like like I would say we're friendly with Luke, but that doesn't mean that Luke is like passing us information. More so on that, like we follow each other, and yet you're telling me that Square Enix is trusting strangers with the working title. Like Luke didn't even tell us that, like, because he kept teasing us, like, "Oh, guess you'll have to go back to your old episode and see how right you were," because he's not telling us anything.
Yeah, and that's proof of it as well. It's like it was always like a teasing comment or like a nice like I think it was like Philip Bart comment. It was never ever information that we could be like, oh, we know. Even if you had told us, I never would have said anything. I've been privy to all kinds of information from developers anyway.
And that's what drives me crazy about this leak. It's just like there's no way on God's earth.
There's nothing here that makes, because even like here, for example, the game mechanic was changed a bit from a working title. The game was Life is Strange Aperture, and using Max's camera would simulate a time mechanic through the lens of what she's working for. Is this like Batman Arkham, like Arkham Asylum meets Life is Strange? That feels like two people who play like different games and thought, oh, like detective mode would be very interesting. It doesn't even fit into what a Life is Strange game is. So it's like, who's actually making this? Who's got the concept for it?
You know what Luke also isn't telling us if it's set in Philly or not. I'm just here crying, screaming, like, please be set in Philly, and Luke is probably just sitting back like...
Maybe Mary Pouliot's photo was a reference to Philadelphia as well, with swings. Maybe a swings that.
Don't do this to me, dude. Like, Michelle and Luke are watching this and be like, we're not telling him if it is or if it isn't. He'll just have to suffer. Stupid American telling us that Life is Strange Rules is the worst one in the whole game.
That's true. I'm surprised I haven't never spoken to me again about that.
But that's my point, though. It's like they won't even tell us if Philly is true or not. And you're telling me that like you got all this information from a survey as a stranger. Dude, no. Absolutely not. I don't buy it at all.
Like, look, and as well, maybe we could have like complete egg on our face, and this is proven right, like a year's time or something or whatever.
Sure, I would love that. Yeah,
but the problem is like, as you said, like I know a lot of things. I've been privy to a lot of information. There are things I never ever say in this podcast or even this YouTube channel. I just would never say them. I know a lot of things, things, and that's not just me putting myself on like I know everything. I get told a lot of things. Yeah, I've never heard of this. This has just come out of the blue, out of a random subreddit. Someone has just posted this. The comment has then the user has disappeared, whether it's been through Reddit, has deleted it, or whatever. Either way, all little speculations. Adam through the devil's advocate saying why would they delete their username, etc.
That's the only like proof that it's real, because like why else would he be deleted? That is literally the only set of proof. What's that?
Or she, or whoever. You keep assuming it's a he.
Fine. Like the whole... Okay. I just think that men are just stupid enough to do this, you know?
I have a theory here that you posted this and use it to make a StrangeCast episode topic. Wouldn't that be quite a bit of a surprise?
You make the scripts.
That's what I mean. So when someone messaged me on Twitter,
I hope Adnan sees this so that I get deleted. Please, Adnan, please add this to the scripts.
My problem is then when another user is saying that other stuff was NDA'd in the call and stuff like that, these events will always be NDA'd. No one's going to break an NDA. For me as well, it's difficult for me to verify this information because I couldn't approach people on the server and say what happened because you'd be stupid enough to tell me as well.
Yeah.
Because even though my day job is a journalist and I've lived most of my life as a journalist and I uphold confidentiality, very protective of what I say and with my sources and stuff, you're also putting yourself at big risk because if I started leaking it or putting it out anywhere else, then you've broken an NDA. It's very hard to break those NDAs to start with. As I said, I've been privy to a lot of information from developers, from PR people. People have told me all kinds of things. Some of that stuff has never surfaced on this podcast. A lot of things has never surfaced on the channel in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think you've told me like everything.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I know. Yeah, I can't. And even then, it's like even if if something else has happened, sometimes you've been there. Like other things, like I think you've been told other things as well. It's like I can't mention what I've been told because it's just there's too much of a run of risk of things. So I have known about certain things that have happened, but
will you tell me if you pooped today or not?
Well, my grandpa from Nintendo might tell you that, or my uncle, whichever one it is. He'll know the information on that.
Are there cameras in there?
Well, you got on the nose. maybe he's keeping a watch on me. This uncle from Nintendo. So, like, there's just no credence towards this. Like, even like, because I could sit here and read out, because like even that as well. For example, let's take the there's a lot of expansion about microtransactions, expansions about almost like this Sims-esque like furniture creation and like making money. You could say, oh yeah, because Square Enix has said stuff about it before about live services, I'll just integrate it in this random comment to make it feel more believable. It's like you could just mention AI in here next and be like, it's no, there's nothing here that I know that adds credence towards it. Like the True Colors leak seemed very much variable because there was like verifiable, because there was a lot more credence towards it. This doesn't really add anything to it. I don't think you might be shown concept of it. They might have built something like it, but if they have, there's no way you're going to see it. There's no way you even post it on the internet and randomly 2 years afterwards in a random thread as well. Like, come on.
There's no way.
No.
There's no way. I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit. I think everything on this giant grain of salt. Yeah.
Because like in here as well, someone's put because the person put, I applied for this workshop where I get surveys offered to me via email in exchange for like $100 to $200 in prepaid cards. I was given the information from the rep I applied with, so it just kind of came to me at random. Yes, it was under NDA. So I guess I'm hoping at this point, since I spoke about it, that they don't really that they really did kind of scrap this project. It's like, yeah, they might have scrapped the project, but you've literally just broken an NDA.
Yeah, like that's the thing is, I don't know. I don't buy this. I don't know. There's no way. There's absolutely no way.
No, I find it very hard to believe. If it was true, then well, we've probably had one of the biggest leaks in gaming history for me personally, from like an NDA workshop survey. That would be just the wildest thing I've ever heard. I can't. Do you ever remember anything like this, Adam, as well? From like a survey kind of being leaked in a game about a game.
Oh yeah,
really.
Also, I'm trying to look up. There's a new Switch game that dropped. Oh, there we go. Another code. It's kind of like Life is Strange-esque, but I thought there's also cameras involved in this one. No, there's not.
It's called Aperture as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, what was it? Like, because we were talking about it. I'm like, wait, there was another game that just dropped. It's a remake. And it just came on Switch, and there is like another code is like is a remake of a Wii game or a 3DS game. Anyways, no, it's not that. I was trying to figure it out, but it has nothing to do with cameras, but it has something to do with graves, so that's cool. No, I'm sure. Like, I know there is.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Listen to it. But there's also because like, do that comment that I just read out. Someone replied saying, "You're not even sure if you're still under NDA" as a reply, and that person replied, "Well, I signed the doc, so I guess I am. Like I mentioned above, I don't know whether the project has been scrapped or not. After reading this article, I felt it was just nice to know that at one point in time, Life is Strange 3 was considered and planned upon." And then later down in the comments, someone's put Bryce Crisps. Man straight up vanished. Lol. I hope nobody snitched. That account had years of posts and comments. Makes me feel like it's very authentic.
What an idiot, dude. No, like that's the thing. I'm very sure. I'm almost positive. Like it also happened in Square Enix before, because I'm pretty sure the Avengers game was leaked via survey. God. I feel like it was, and I just can't remember if that's true or not. But I think that the Avengers game was all like there was a leak like via survey. I'm like 70% sure that I'm wrong about that, but I'm also 30% sure that like I think that actually happened. But I know like people put out surveys all the time. I mean, I've taken part in surveys in certain games that I can't talk about. But I've had surveys, and but like in those surveys, they never give out like specific information like this. Like I've done, I want to say 2 or 3 surveys. Like since like 2 or 3 surveys since like 2010, probably. In like 13 years time, I've done 2 or 3, and I don't remember ever having like this much information on a
No.
game based on any one of those surveys. So like, I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all.
I think you could be shown things from it. So you could even be shown like an older version of Max, and you could potentially be shown concept art of the thing. The fact they give you like the name of the thing, you've said you've seen this and this and this. I'm like, I don't even think this was like a survey beyond that. I felt like the survey that they even put out was being like, do you like Max? Do you like
Mhm.
Rachel? What kind of game would you want? But
Exactly.
I never felt, and I don't think, I think that with the screening process these companies kind of have as well, even though we had leaks in the past. I don't know, man. There's nothing here to substantiate the proof on this.
Put it this way. Trying to say this in a way where I'm not breaking any NDAs,
Oh god!
but like there's certain things that I sign up for that I can't even tell people that I signed up for. Like, put it that way. Not even talking about surveys, but like I'm not even allowed to talk about that. I signed up for this. Like, I can't even tell that. Like, I signed up for it.
Yeah.
So like that's how deep these NDAs go, and it's just like you're telling me that you're just gonna drop this like, oh, I'm under NDA, but and it's like with no repercussions. You know what I mean? And like I have to be so vague that I have to say I can't even talk about how I signed up for something.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because it just puts something out there. Like as I said, I know something. If I put it out there on this podcast, then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh well, that just like, adds to claim and blah blah." It doesn't. It's just a thought. We'd like I've thought about it. If anything, off podcast, I've even told you as well what I think it was, what we know. But it's like,
I know the thing that you're talking about. And it's just like it doesn't more fuel this. It's more of just like, yeah, it's more of just like, maybe
it's just a connecting the dot thing, and it's like, but it's connecting the dot thing with no kind of substantiated proof. We don't work off that, so it's like I'm not going to put it out there and be like, well, this is what I know, and this is what it's going to lead to, because then it doesn't suggest anything. It's just a thought or something. So
it's more of like a stretch. It's more of just like, well, if we stretch, maybe, but it's like no, like it's like even with that stretch, it's kind of like this has no sort of
legs.
Backing. Yeah, it has no legs.
It has no legs, and there's no proof of it. And even the fact where it says like this is a concept for Life is Strange 3, it's like, but we already know that True Colors had come out, the survey had been done. It's like
the only legs that this stands on is that 10 years gap, and then next year will be 10 years.
Yeah.
So like that's the only leg that this is standing on. But the fact that this survey came out 2 years ago, so this came out let's say this came out 2023, so let's say like they got the survey 2021, and you're telling me that the full game is going to come out in 4 years time. You know, I don't know. Maybe like it would line up for 2025, but like I don't know. I don't think so.
In itself as well, like I get what the person saying that this person had like loads of comments and stuff. I'm on Reddit, like, you know, if I went on there, started just like posting in here in the subreddit and be like making a joke kind of thing, people are like, oh well, he knows things. Oh, he hosts a Life is Strange podcast with this guy. It's like, you know, they know things about this. It's like, no, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a random. I could put anything out on the internet and people believe it, unless there's actual substantial proof that can verify and give this claim. I don't believe any of it at the minute. It just feels like really like in itself, like there's some funny dots that are being connected because you could make claims on it, be like, actually, this makes sense, this makes sense, this makes sense. I've kind of looked at it, think, oh, that actually could be an interesting, like, you know, food for thought moment. But then I'm like, that also doesn't make sense what you're suggesting in here, and also the other things that we can connect. It's like, you know, then it makes sense. It's like even in the comments as well, they said like, oh, you know, it's probably going to be done by a studio outside of like England, for example, wherever else, or like the UK or something. It's like, yeah, maybe it's Deck 9. Oh, Deck 9 had loads of hirings. They fired people. They had layoffs and stuff. Maybe they scrapped the project. Maybe it didn't go into development as long as it did, etc., etc. No, I can't see it. I can't see this project getting scrapped either. If Square Enix was going to roll the dice with this one, they would have gone with it.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think they personally would have like really gone with it. I think personally, from what I know, I just like, nah, actually, I won't say that. No, I'm not going to say that. No. That was something completely different than that. No.
Are you going to tell me if you
can't say that. No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
I will report back to you on that.
Okay.
But no, anyway, I'm gonna try not to like get myself in trouble with other things. I don't believe it, just for the fact that if this person is also just suggesting that they're under NDA, then best luck to you. Maybe you're not on Reddit. Maybe you're watching this podcast. If you are, do leave us a 5 rating before you get sued by Square Enix. It'd be really appreciated. You can also listen to us from prison as well, because they might even try and like get some higher
Prison
laws.
Cast.
Oh, come on! Like, look at even like thingy. Do you remember the leaker who went after Rockstar and leaked all the GTA stuff? That wasn't even an NDA survey. That was like pure hacking.
Yeah, that was all
you
hacking. Did you hear that? Like, he's in prison, and then he said to his lawyer, he's like, "I'm gonna do it again." Like, he straight up just said, like, oh, "I'm just gonna do it again, dude." Like, he's in prison, and he's like, "I'll do it again."
Well, at least they've got a home there, so they know they can safely say things in that environment, because it's like you're gonna be there for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just don't believe it. If Square Enix got wind of this, best of luck to you. Best of luck to you. I think whatever the call was, they were probably shown certain things. Maybe even if it was a concept and stuff, maybe it was a concept of the game, but there's too many different.
But I will say this is the second time we're hearing about it. So
yeah, we laughed a lot during that first podcast.
Yeah,
we laughed.
I will give it this, that like this is the second time we're hearing about this, and that 10-year mark is like making me think like, well, 2025 will be 10 years. So it's like, I'm not trying to say like, oh, this is proven. It's more of just like, this is the second time we're hearing about it. I will say, like, in terms of like the first time we heard about it, there's like a 3% chance that this is true. But now it's the second time, I'm putting it like this is like a 6% chance it's true. You know what I mean?
So the potential Life is Strange 4 rumor was 2 years ago. I've got it up here on the Reddit.
Okay.
Gaming leaks and rumors. It's great assault. I have no real proof that this source is reliable. Right. So just assume there's a 99% chance that this is BS. But I heard someone that tested the game that Life is Strange 4 is coming and Max will once again be the main character. Apparently she's a professor in art school and her powers have been upgraded so she can travel to alternative realities and use that to solve mysteries. It also follows the choices you made in the first game, and Chloe can make an appearance if you kept her alive. So there's a complete contradiction from what we've heard there as well. So it's like two different things. Story spoiler, the basis of the story is she's investigating the murder of a friend/student of hers. She steps between realities and ended up finding her alive in the alternative timeline and uses that to solve murder. There will apparently be other people with power in the game as well. Just on top of that as well, and I think we're going to wrap up this segment soon, very shortly as well. It doesn't even sound like a Life is Strange game.
No, it doesn't. No.
It just doesn't. Like, who's making it? It doesn't even say, like. Do you when you said it to me once? You were like, you can tell what the difference between a Deck 9 and a Don't Nod game is. You like they have very different storytelling. It sounds like neither of them. And then on top of that, it's like, as I said, it sounds like something like if Square Enix went wild and was like, yeah, let's get the team behind Silent Hill to make from Konami. It's like it doesn't make sense.
I'm trying to see because I'm looking up Square Enix Square Enix Studios, right? I'm trying to think because a list of I'm trying to think of like any other. Can I just get a list? I guess not. But yeah, like games and franchises. But I'm like thinking like what other company under Square Enix like has this, Online gaming, Crossgates. Yeah, I'm not even.
You know what as well? Whilst
Yeah.
you're looking that up as well, Adam, like considering the market push that Square Enix has put behind True Colors with like all the graphic novels, they've kind of like treated Alex as their own and stuff. It's like their own character.
Mhm.
Why are they putting so much time into this Life is Strange Aperture game?
Yeah, no, there's no way. Developers. It just says developers, Square Enix. Okay, now we're getting to the juicy stuff here. So I have a whole list of games made by Square Enix. So we have Toy Logic, which no way. We have Acquire, which is the developers behind Octopath Traveler, which is no way. Luminous Productions, who made Forspoken. That's definitely maybe because like it seems like that's up their wheelhouse. Doki Doki Groove, who made Various Day Life. No, I don't think. Oh, Team Ninja's owned by Square Enix? Weird. Team Ninja. Team Ninja would never touch this ever. So yeah, maybe Luminous Productions. Maybe Luminous got this. Because that sounds like something that like what else has Luminous Productions made? I don't think they don't even have any other games, do they? I think that was their debut game. Oh, sorry. So they made Final Fantasy 15. Wait, what? No. Wait, what? Did they make Wait a
I think
second.
we
Yeah, you broke me. Sorry. Developers.
I broke you. I think this random Reddit user broke you for starting the topic in the chain of events.
Yeah, okay, they use the same engine, but yeah, Forspoken was like their debut game.
Oh, Forspoken, yeah, I remember them.
That's
You know,
what
that
I
was a
mean.
1 year anniversary very recently. There's like loads of pieces that came out saying like Forspoken should get a second chance and etc. and all this. Because they went down under, didn't they? Was it Luminous Productions?
It's been a year since Forspoken?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
It's been
There were pieces saying they should get a second chance and stuff and everything else in between it. The studio that made that game just went down under and stuff. It's like, damn.
Oh my god, like I didn't realize it's been 1 year since. Wow, dude. Bear McCreary composed that? Ew, he actually signed off on that? Bear McCreary, if I have my names correct, is the composer behind God of War. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, which is
Did you
wild.
Should we wrap up, Adam?
Yes, and by the way, yes, God of War Ragnarok and God of War the other one.
Nice.
Yes, but yeah. So, anyways, yeah, let's wrap up. Sorry, I'm trying to like.
So
Yeah,
go on.
Luminous.
I think it's because we've gone on for a while, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Let us know what you think of the rumor in the comments. Anyway, speaking of comments, our other segment that we introduced as well, which is our comment on the podcast. Adam has also noticed this, but I've wanted to bring this in because it's more related to him. So this is from at Life is 2D, who we've seen quite a few times. They posted on the last StrangeCast episode, excuse the lazy copy and paste of what I said last month about Switchport, but just to warn Adam, so this is for Adam to see. I've been poking at the Switchport again recently, as it's now over a year old, and it's still buggy in some very obvious ways. On the first run, the prompt to take a hammer to break the fire alarm would always fail to appear until you've reloaded the scene, a problem that was in the PC version since day one. Note, this may since have been fixed, and even more absurdly, the ending for episode 2 still doesn't actually play. A year on, it still plays the part with Warren and Max. At least the sun is there right there this time around, and then abruptly drops to a loading screen, and the choice is. So the off chance anyone is thinking of picking it up, perhaps as a Christmas thing, and reads this, maybe just stick to the original on PC. It's missing filters, camera effects, depth of field, etc., and has all of the same problems remastered is known to have, and a whole load more. So Adam, that was a comment that we got from our last podcast, and thank you very much for sharing that. That was for you mainly as well, because you played the Switch version. Because
I'm just gonna start with like, I'm not gonna argue with that particular user because they are making a 2D Life is Strange game. Like they are currently like in the weeds with Life is Strange, so it's like they know the game. So I saw all of this. At least the sun has been fixed, even more absurdly. I never faced these problems in the Switch version, but I only played it once, and there's a lot of times where Xbox users will say like with their bugs, and I didn't get those bugs. I only got like a few, you know. So I was one of the blessings that didn't get the bugs, but I only played the Switch port once. So I'll have to play it again because just recently I reloaded my Xbox version and I shared with Adnan another bug that I never seen before with the whole like football throwing. I think I said it in the last episode where he was throwing the football and like the football's not even there. So that was like a new bug I've never seen. So maybe like the Switch port got new bugs because of all these patches that I didn't even know about. So when I first played it, it didn't seem that buggy, but you know, Life is Strange 2D says there is, so I'm gonna say listen to Life is Strange 2D and say there was bugs in the Switch port.
His life is 2D.
Well,
Life is
yeah,
Strange
Life is 2D. Yeah,
Put some
Life is Strange
respect on the
2D.
name.
Yeah,
No, yeah, I'm not going to argue against them either because we've spoken about the remaster collection, the horror stories that we've had with like the bugs and glitches and from different consoles and everything else. So thought we'd add that in here, and thank you for the comment as well. As always, if you are new here as well, you do drop a comment on the YouTube video. We'll read it out in the next episode. So if you can tell us whatever you think, let us know about the rumors, for example, for this last main topic segment. We might even pick it out. But anyway, we'll get towards the finish line. Adam, spread the arts. I'm going to go first.
Yes. I go first?
Yes.
Okay. Currently my next book on Spotify I haven't finished yet because I don't have enough hours left on it. So I will get back to you on that. By the way, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving that I have access to these books and I can just listen during work. So audiobook listening time. I have 3 hours left to finish the book, and I have like 5 hours left of the book. So there's that. But I'm currently reading Logic's autobiography, so it's cool. So I'll get back to you on that. But the real one that I watched it last night, and I was waiting to watch it, but it just came on Netflix. It's called Dumb Money, and it's about the GameStop short squeeze story. Starring
really?
starring Seth Rogen, the guy who plays Ron Swanson on Parks and Rec, Nick Offerman, and Shailene Woodley, whatever. There's a couple good stars on there. So, am I gonna say this is the perfect movie? Like, oh my god, this is changing the game? No, but I think that if you didn't understand what happened with the whole GameStop story, I think it explains it pretty good. Will also be pretty entertaining, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's only an hour and 40 minutes, so it's like it's not that bad of a watch. So it's entertaining. It explains a lot, and all around a good story, and it also shows like why they were trying to stop people from buying stocks. Like it actually tells like what their side is, not like an evil like mustache kind of explanation, but it explains like why they were stressing out about like, hey, you can't buy it. It explains it really well from both sides. So yeah, it's called Dumb Money. It's on Netflix. I recommend it. Actually, it was pretty good. Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that tonight. I just got to open up on tab when you mentioned it. That does sound something like I need to watch. Yeah. It's quite interesting that you said that because the stocks and markets game don't get involved in it if you don't know anything about it. It's very scary when it goes.
They talk about that too. Like these people don't know what they're talking about, but no, it explains it really, really good.
It's like that moment. If you remember, you watched Friends, haven't you? The earlier episodes. Well, I'm just checking. Just checking. I know some people have never watched Friends. We have that entire moment where Monica invests some money into the stock market because she's like broke, and she like doesn't know, and she's like I picked the ticker symbol because it says Monica or something.
Yeah,
it's like
Monica.
No. It's like no. It's like I've always said this to people. Like I've had people come to me and say because I've got invested in stuff like last year and stuff. Don't do it unless you have the mental fortitude to do it. And if you do, put it in. No, this is not financial advice. Like look at ETFs and bonds and stuff. Don't put your money into companies. Just don't put your money into something because you think it's going to be good. That's like me saying I'm going to go invest in Don't Nod because I think I love the game and brand. No. Go and read about their financials and stuff. Like figure out where they're at as a company, etc. But so like with the GameStop thing, I remember the GameStop thing happened. I was like, mad.
And again, I won't say it's perfect. If I was going to give it like 5-star rating, I would give it a 3.5. Like honestly, so I'm not going to say this is the perfect biography or the perfect documentary, but it was entertaining and explained like what happened. So,
right, I'm gonna go check that out. Okay, perfect. So my spread the arts is I actually played Life is Strange Aperture. That's my spread the arts.
this whole time twist ending.
Yeah, that's what the reveal is. Hopefully, someone clips that and puts it on Reddit. And it's like, yeah, he's actually just confirmed it.
He actually played it.
I played it on the NDA on the actual Zoom call, by the way, as well. I had the controller
on the Zoom call.
Yeah, I was doing it. No, actually, Adam, I'm gonna let you down. I haven't picked anything. I haven't got anything to bring here. It's been 2 weeks, and all I've watched is Friends. I'm currently on season 9, right near the finish line.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. So, how many times have you watched it then? Like,
no, we're just on the same run. I've gone from like watching it every
wait,
every couple of days.
First time watching it?
Oh no, I've watched Friends like hundreds of times. No,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, that's when you say like, oh, it's the same run through. I'm like,
no,
this is your first time watching Friends?
No, this is my first time watching Friends in like 2 years or something. Like I watch Friends like as a ritual every like couple of years, but it's like I'm currently like I put it on the background whilst I was like doing little things like eating and stuff, and then I got to like season 4 and just started watching episodes daily, like a rapid pace. We're right near the finish line at season 9, or just before season 10 comes up. But yeah, I've just been watching that, so I've not had time. But I'm going to watch this film that you recommended. It's going to be on my list of things to do today. So I'm off work, so I can do that.
Yeah, because it's really wild. It's actually a nicely told story. I'm trying to see if like can I finish the book today? No, there's too much time that I have left. I will still stand by Spotify's like audiobook presentation because 15 hours is better than getting only just one token from Audible. So
yeah,
if you're on Spotify Premium.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. I think we should wrap up here.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, perfect. So thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Leave us your comments in the podcast. We'll read them out in the next episode. Obviously, as I said, come to the YouTube channel, leave it. We'll pick out the best one, we'll talk about in the next episode. So yeah, and let us know if you think Life is Strange Aperture is real. We'd be interested to hear about your thoughts about that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you are new here, please do consider dropping subscribe on the channel, turn notifications, like the video, share with your friends, helps to support the channel, helps keep up to date with our content more than anything else. And StrangeCast is available on all podcast services. So we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, with the video version. We're available on everything. So if you are on those as well, please do give us a rating. And especially on Apple Podcasts, we do get quite a few people from there. We only have 1 rating. So if you can give us more than 1, that'd be great. And also on Spotify, do keep dropping those ratings. And thank you for 170 followers. Greatly appreciated. In the comments, let us know what you think about the Life is Strange Aperture and all the other stuff in between it. Will be floating around in the comments. Until then, we'll see you next month now. This will be our last episode of January, and we'll be into February. Trying to arrange a special guest. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll reveal that if it happens. It's just in the works at the minute. No definite date and time yet. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Take care until the next episode. See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Ready for the mosh pit, Shaka Bra.